Ladies and gentlemen, hello from the MLG studios here in New York City, and welcome back to the Winter Season Showdowns. We're currently watching a best of 5 between Mana and Bly. We're in the middle of Europe week of our qualifiers. Again, the winner of every best of 5 in Heart of the Swarm gets that spot at the Winter Championships. Very important games, very important matches for every single one of these players. Currently, Mana is up 1-0. Before we get into game number 2, quick plug. Of course, the Dr. Pepper Gaming House, you just saw that bumper. We're almost out of time. You have 2 days left to sign up. And I remember when I wasn't at MLG and I saw this opportunity, I'm like, Dr. Pepper Ultimate Gaming House, I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to sign up for that because everyone's probably signing up for that because I'm probably not going to get it. But that's not necessarily true, guys. There have been less submissions than you may think. So you definitely have a chance. Don't think this is something that you can't go after if you have an iPhone. I think that's pretty much all you need. If you have a smartphone that's able to take video, definitely sign up for this. Get yourself set up with a bunch of awesome gear. The ultimate game room makeover, of course, a complete makeover of your gaming room with the latest in competitive gaming equipment, technology, and great Dr. Pepper product and prizes. Again, you got to send a video, no more than 5 minutes in length. Introduce yourself, your friend, or your group, and tell us why they deserve the Ultimate Gaming House. Show us a rumor area you want to see transformed, and tell us how you are a one-of-a-kind fan of Dr. Pepper and MLG. It ends in 2 days. It ends in 2 days. So get that done. Maybe do a Harlem Shake type video. Maybe that would be good. Actually, I just got told from my producer that don't do that. It's probably pretty unoriginal at this point, but I've been getting a kick out of those videos. Shall we?
I think
Shall
we should.
we proceed?
I think we should.
Along the best of 5 path towards the Winter Season Championship in Dallas, Texas.
I think we should.
I think we should too.
So, Mana took game 1 fairly convincingly. But game 2 is going to be on Daybreak. And you know what? Bly, his name rhymes with Sly. And when he uses Muleless, man, this guy is as sly as they come. Daybreak is an excellent map for Muleless play. Mana was opening Stargate, though. So, you know, that can kind of deny that possibility. I feel like we're going to see him do Muleless unless it's that Phoenix play.
You are quite the wordsmith, Mr. axslav. Has anyone ever told you that?
You know what? You may be the very first person.
Well, don't let anyone tell you differently. Let's introduce the players. This is game number 2 of this best of 5. In the top right-hand location, we have the Blue Zerg player representing Team Acer. He is Bly. He's currently down 1-0. His opponent is in the bottom left-hand location. He's the red Protoss player representing Team Mouse. He is Mana. 2 wins away from getting that all-expenses-paid trip to the Winter Championships in Dallas, Texas on March 15th. And we'll have to see what these guys pull out. Of course, this is Daybreak, which is a Wings of Liberty-ish-esque, I don't know how to describe it, map, though. As in, it's not necessarily a new map. So there have been some older strategies used in Heart of the Swarm on this map.
They're very experienced with the map, you could say also, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, this is actually probably the map, in all the map pools, in all the tournaments, that right now the people are the most experienced with. I mean, it wasn't like one of the maps that first came with the game, but most of those have been cycled out now. This one is the oldest map still used in tournament rotation, along with maybe Cloud Kingdom. I'm not sure which of those.
Perhaps.
I think Ohana came a little bit later, but you know, they've all been around for a while. Bly, is he gonna?
I think Daybreak was first now that I think about it, because Cloud Kingdom and Ohana were introduced in the map contest that Team Liquid had.
You're right.
And those came at the same time. But I think Daybreak was a bit before that.
Ooh, the drone!
Oh, the drone. Indeed, the drone.
The drone skedaddles out of there. You know what? The drone will be happily regenerating his tissue, but that probe, the shields come back. The life does not. That probe for the rest of his natural life, or actually may not be natural life. His life may be ended by unnatural means.
Trivia question. There was a building in Brood War that gave you your shields back. What was it called?
Want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Shield battery.
Nice. You win trivia of the day.
There was an amazing Brood War game where a player defended Marines with a single stalker and a shield battery.
Oh gosh.
Got like 20-something kills. Anyways, back to StarCraft 2.
Wait, what was the game?
I don't actually remember the exact player names.
Then you can't ask the question.
Well, no, it wasn't like a trivia question. It was like, do you remember? Anyways,
okay.
Bly.
Right. Yes.
Bly getting gas.
He is. This is something he did in the last game. However, in the last game, he got his gas much faster. He got it off of one base. This time, he's able to get that natural expansion on the ground after a little bit of annoyance from that probe.
This is the gas timing of a player who wants to do a very fast two-base layer play. This is the typical time we'll see from that. Something like if you want to do a two-base Nidus play, super fast viewless, or some Swarm Host Rush. He's getting the speed first, so it won't be something insanely fast. Of course, the speed is great because when you tech this fast, you have less units. And it's kind of weird. It's like if you have less units and you're really afraid of your opponent walking across the map and forcing you to spend your precious minerals on spines and zerglings and defense, you actually want to invest more earlier into speed because that'll keep the Protoss on their side of the map. They'll be afraid of counterattacks. They'll be afraid if they move out with a small gateway force, then they're going to be surrounded by 30 speedlings. So it's kind of a cool little technique where you can do it and get like 10 speedlings, but it's a really efficient defense as opposed to having to build a whole bunch of units later when they attack you with that, the Mothership gateway force we've seen a lot of Protosses using in Heart of the Swarm.
Now, Mana adding on a second gateway, or a second cannon, excuse me, so has an idea of the potential shenaniganry here from Bly. He's going to send a Zealot, it looks like, to his opponent's third base just to do some investigating. Might stop at the Watchtower and just clear it out from a link, as you said before. If he notices that speed, he might be less likely to move out across the map. But yeah, there's the third base here from Bly.
I really want to see him go straight to Swarm Host, but I feel like it's going to be muteless. I just haven't seen enough Swarm Hosts yet in Heart of the Swarm. They're really fun units to use.
We haven't seen them yet in these showdowns, have we?
Oh, we saw Nurture use a few of them,
one.
but he was more just experiencing with them. I don't think he had much experience with them. Hydralisk, interesting, rushing Hydralisk out this fast. Is he going to put on some pressure? It's always an interesting decision because he sacrificed a decent amount of economy to get tech up so fast. And normally what you do then is use that tech to harass your opponent, or use it to do like an all-in timing based off that tech, or not maybe all-in, but a very pressure timing. So the Hydralisk can't harass. Like, you don't see Hydralisk harassing someone, really. Like,
not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Someone will rush out over a drop and just like run around, drop 4 Hydralisks, pick them up, move to the next base. It's like, boy, I wish these were like Widow Mines or Hellbats. But the fact he's getting to third base, he hasn't really banked a lot of money to produce a huge wave of Hydralisks. Maybe it's going to be one of those fake pressure builds where he tries to scare the Protoss and stay defensive. Use that to get a third base with a lot of gas, and it hard switches to Mutus.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say these are made for the intention to defend because of the common occurrence of Stargate play nowadays in PvZ, and the Mothership Core is pretty much always going to be in any sort of push, and if you can eliminate that quickly with the Hydras, that can be good. And most pushes before the Colossi pushes come out can be dealt with to a certain extent with Hydras, provided you have good positioning, but with the high DPS. So I don't know if this is just like a standard from Bly as far as, alright, I'm opening this game, I'm going for Hydras, I don't necessarily want to be aggressive, I just want to be able to stay safe and extend the game if my opponent does anything tricky at me. That being said, he could just decide to push across the map and see what he can do, but that's I don't necessarily expect that, considering Hydras aren't that mobile.
Talking about pushing across the map, it's Mana with, was it 7 warp gates behind us, moving out with a significant gateway force. The Hydras still greet him. The sentries are stuck in your bubble.
This is perfect for Bly. Great engagement there. He surrounded the sentries early, which is so important. And look at that.
Whew.
He's forced to do that.
Did you see how close that Mothership Core was to dying? There were shots in the air that would have killed it.
I think it might have. Okay, yeah, there it is.
There were shots in the air. That was just. And if that died, the rest of his army would have died as well. I mean, the only thing slower than a Hydra off creep is that Mothership Core. It couldn't quite back up, but man, it barely got that recall off in time.
He's still making lings here and adding on that Spire. I'm a little bit surprised those aren't drones, because I don't know how effective this push is going to be. He could take out the Cybercore and then back away, but I'm wondering when he's going to go back into that drone production.
Yeah, drones would definitely be really nice here. The side course is going to go down whether or not the Zerglings are actually going to poke in here.
Yeah.
Deflected again by the force field.
Nice force field there. Now,
8 more Hydras.
Interesting.
I thought he was going to switch into muteless
Yeah,
play.
for sure. I mean, that's smart. Maybe.
It's just going to be for Corruptors.
Yeah.
He's anticipating mana going straight for those Colossi. And he's just going to play, you know, Hydra Corruptor versus Colossi Stalker.
This is actually interesting. We have a Dark Shrine on the way here from Mana as well. It's about to get finished up. And Mana's going to try to extend out a little bit, putting the Time Warp onto the Hydras, making them even slower, which is a little bit funny when you think about it. Mana continuing to come forward, throwing down the Force Fields. His Time Warp is huge for him, and he's going to be able to clean this army up pretty easily.
Nice, definite win for Mana. They're closing the supply gap. It's barely any at all. You know, there's really no economic advantage either for Bly. His third base hasn't even been touched yet. He's really committing to some serious pressure.
He wants to get damage done with these Hydras and these Lings. Going to try to engage again, but now DTs are in the mix. Are they just going to run on by or reveal themselves? Looks like 2 will stick around and try to do some damage. And Bly doesn't necessarily know about this yet. It's not like the Hydra. Okay, now he definitely
Where are all the Hydras going?
He's just running one away, realizing the other are going to die.
The one Hydra is like, cover me, guys. I'll go around and flank.
I'm going to go get some reinforcements, guys. you stay and hold the line.
He skittles on backwards.
All right, we have a DT heading to the third base. Might target down this Queen.
Just
No,
looking
going to
for
target
drone
down the
kills.
hatchery. Yeah, there's no drones there, which I have to think Mana is probably surprised by.
Oh, I'm sure Mana's happy now. There's no
course.
drones, 2-base Surrogates. Not going to be 2-base Protoss and only Hydra to tech. As long as Mana takes his time, builds up a nice sizable force. But no, he's going to push straight across the map. A ton of Zealots. They all have charge too.
Oh,
if there's no
charge is great.
roaches, those Hydras will just get
Sliced and diced.
Yeah, absolutely destroyed here.
Yep.
But this is where we're saying that roaches are in production.
Oh.
Bely's a step ahead in the game.
Income still at 44, so trying to make this work off of a very low economy. It's definitely doable. Mana feeling pressure to do some damage. He has the ability to warp in plenty of stuff. More Zealots, more Archons going to be warped in here. And does he have enough where he can just simply overwhelm his opponent? Now remember, Bly is going to have the ability to kite quite a bit, at least to a certain extent, because there's not as many force fields. But there is a Time Warp, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Mana might just try to take on this third and retreat.
He definitely could do that. A lot of Zealots will go down. Remember, Hydralists have very, very high DPS. Zealot charging into Roaches are in front, though. Great kiting by Bly, but he might sacrifice this hatchery in the process.
Mothership Core, I'm wondering where that Time Warp is. He might be saving the energy for the recall. There goes the Time Warp onto the Roaches and the Hydras, but is that going to be enough? Archons and Charge trying to do some damage, but look at the DPS from the Hydras, and Bly without too much trouble at all, even while his units are slowed quite a bit. Going to be able to clean that up. Here come more reinforcements here from Mana. Bly needs to be kiting back a little bit, targeting down the Mothership Core first. And look at this. He takes down that push, and Mana, I think he might be feeling a little bit confused here.
He is. You know, he scouted the lack of drones, and he pushed on anyway, knowing that his opponent was pumping units. Could have been a slight oversight. Bly with an amazing defense, great positioning of his units. He's going to keep pushing forward. Back on Mana's end defensively, he does have sentries, he does have Dark Templar, and how many Overseers are there on the map?
There are 0. Two. Two just finished, I think. Not sure exactly where they are. Oh, I can click on them now.
You know, one thing that's actually really interesting to note is that normally when you see DTs, you can run away. Oh, there aren't any DTs, never mind.
Oh, he made him into Archons. Bly trying to be aggressive up this ramp here. Mana trying to set up that concave, but his tech isn't too incredible. I mean, still we only have Stalkers, Sentries, and Archons. I mean, we could say that's higher tech, but if we're talking about high tech that's good against Hydras, you're talking about Storm. You're talking about Colossus, which Mana hasn't been making progress towards. So Bly, I think he's in a great situation here with those Roaches and Hydras on the aggressive side of things.
He is. Burrows on the way. Range plus 2 is almost finished, and he's not going to wait for it.
There's a Time Warp
goes down.
Time Warp from Mana trying to slow those Roaches down once again, and this is actually going to be a decently close battle, at least once Bly gets close to the Nexus, because those cannons are there, and he's just going to burrow.
Oh, great use of the burrow regeneration ability. Those Roaches will come up to full life in no time at all. Mana doesn't have a single unit to detect him. There's nothing to stop Bly from just coming in, sniping the cannons, and then using Burrow Micro to whittle down Mana's army, while, of course, Bly can just keep reinforcing at his leisure. Oh,
this is so dangerous for Mana. As you said before, Bly can just use Burrow Micro to come out on top here. He's going to press forward towards this natural expansion. Mana going to have a heroic defense, warping in some sentries here with the idea to use the force fields in mind. But Bly has too much here. He's just going to keep reinforcing with Roaches across the map. Keep in mind, he has no third base, just now retaking that. and he's going to slowly but surely try to take out Mana here, just whittling down the units one by one.
He isn't. What he's doing here is, as long as the unit count stays low, Roaches do exceptional against these gateway units. They're pushing in now, not enough force fields. DT slashing the back after a great Overseer snipe by Mana, but will 1 DT be enough? The rest of his forces are being decimated.
Yeah, no Overseer here, so no ability to detect that Dark Templar. Mothership Core doesn't quite have enough energy for that Photon Overcharge on the Nexus. Probes are forced to be pulled here. Income tab Mana's down to 29, and Bly isn't done. Surging forward with more and more Roaches here. He hasn't made a drone in about 5-6 minutes, and there is the GG from Mana. That is a game you don't see every day.
No, it is not.
Crazy.
I mean, 2 base versus 2 base.
Yeah.
Bly,
like in my mind, I just...
This guy's scary, man.
Yeah.
Like, your average
It's
Zerg...
like it shouldn't work in my head, but it was working.
It does, man.
Crazy.
And, you know, it's because your opponents don't expect it, you know? You go, you put pressure on a Zerg. Your average Zerg, you're like, okay, they defended my pressure, they'll go back and drone up. Bly, no. He doesn't believe in drones, man. Yeah, and just keeps the pressure on, keeps the trading going to action, keeps going. And if you push to action, the Protoss energy-based units, the Mothership Core, the Sentries, they lose effectiveness because they don't get that opportunity to build up that stockpile of energy. It worked out great for Bly that game.
Yeah, it's a great game there from Bly, showing how Hydras can actually be effective in the game of StarCraft 2. And it all started with that attempted push from Mana, but Bly was able to get great positioning, engage with those Lings in the middle of the map, force the Sentries to use a bunch of force fields, and then engage with the Hydras. There's only gateway units there. The force fields are essentially gone. He's in wide open space. So what does Mana? What can Mana do? He couldn't do anything, so he had to recall back to base, and that's when all the momentum went towards Bly. He made more and more units, went on the offensive. Didn't make drones, which I was really surprised by at that point. But I guess it kind of paid off, just making more units. His opponent eventually counterattacked, but he just had Bly had too many units, was able to defend it with relative ease. Pretty good game there. So Bly is going to tie up the series 1-1. We have an awesome best of 5 on our hands, guys. Be sure to tell your friends this is going on. Get on Team Liquid, get on Reddit, join the Twitch chat, chat about the games. What do you think of these strategies? Talk with your friends, talk with your fellow viewers. That being said, Game 3 coming up between Mana and Bly. Don't go anywhere.